This is my new paludarium build, and it's also my favorite tank, probably because it's the only one that's focused purely on the design, and I actually took proper steps and planned it a little bit and didn't freestyle it. I'm going to do a walkthrough and show you guys how I built this tank, everything from the substrate and the entire hardscape build to all of the planting. Even got a canister filter in here, which is so unnecessary for such a small volume, but I want it, so I got it. So enjoy the video, guys. So let's start off with the tank. It's a nano shallow aquarium and the dimensions are 30 by 18 by 12 centimeters. And the floating element, which is that little gap at the bottom that you see here, is 3 centimeters. So it actually gives you less volume of water than the actual size of the tank. So it's only about 4 liters or 1 US gallons. And I really love that floating element. That's why I picked this tank in particular, because I wanted to purely focus on the hardscape. So that's why we got a small tank, guys. And the light that I'm using is a F-Zone Solar Nano RGB, and I've secured it to a cheap handbag holder with some cable ties. So this is what it looks like. The Solar Nano RGB is actually a great light that is sub $100 US, I believe, and competes pretty well with the sub $100 lights, particularly for something like a Chihiro C2, which is only a white light. This is full RGB with app control. You can set all your schedules and everything. So I really like this light and it looks great in this tank, and I highly recommend it. So before any soil goes in, I like to lay down a base layer of conditioning powders. This boosts long-term stability in small systems like this paludarian, and we're using 88 Bacta 100, Clear Super, and tourmaline. So the Bacta 100 is essentially dry beneficial bacteria. Clear Super is a carbon base that helps the bacteria colonize, and tourmaline brings in the trace minerals that slowly releases over time. So it improves that nutrient exchange. And you'll see after this, I'm going to lay some pumice stone, which is quite porous and is very lightweight. So it improves the water flow in the substrate. It acts as a long-term biological filter. And it's really just kind of light and gives it a bit of height, so I don't have to use so much aquasoil. So now we've laid down the base layer and the pumice stone, let's go ahead and complete the substrate with putting all the aquasoil. So now we have the substrate down. I played around with it a little bit and I changed the shape of the aquasoil quite a bit because I wasn't quite sure, but I've decided I want to flow everything from left to right. So from a low height at the front and the left, and then getting up more height in the right-hand side. Now we're ready for the hardscape, and we start with some black lava stone. And I've actually picked out a few nice pieces of driftwood, multiple pieces from my local market here in Bangkok, Thailand. I actually got 5 pieces of driftwood and ended up gluing them all together, but I've glued together a smaller amount just to get the larger piece done, and then I can kind of get an idea of concepts and scapes and see what I like and don't like. Now remember that when you're doing the hardscape, you're never going to be happy with the first one. So you got to do it, step back, have a look at the tank from the front, the side, think about shadows, think about depth, and how you want the end of the scape to look. I find that the best thing to do is once you actually set your hardscape, sleep on it. Just leave it for a day, leave it for a couple days, go to bed, just don't do anything else. Come back the next day and have a look, and then you'll know for sure if you still like that scape. What I actually did was, and I recommend this to a lot of people, is to take photos of the different scape positions directly from the front, and then you can have a look through your camera roll after, and you can see them side by side and compare which one you think looks the best. Now, once I was happy with this hardscape, I began to glue. So we're solidifying the wood to the rock using cyanoacrylate liquid glue with a little bit of tissue paper, just any tissue paper. I've just rolled it to a little ball and wedged it in there. Now it does help to use the aquascaping forceps to squeeze this in, and then it should bond instantly, so to hold your scape in place. So now I'm kind of set on the basic shape of this hardscape. I wanted a left to right flow where it's quite small in the left and delicate, and then goes quite hard and dramatic in the right. Now I'm loving the shadows right now. I still have one more piece of wood left that I haven't glued on, but this is what I've decided on. Now, the best thing that really appealed to me about this piece of driftwood is this little bit here that kind of arcs, and we have this hole here which allows for light to get through and creates a lot of shadow. So my idea is that I have this hardscape, and then with this pocket, I'll have plants growing out of it, kind of like a bursting with life sort of theme, if you get what I mean. So here you see is the final piece of the wood, and I'm playing around with it a little bit because I don't know what to do. And the final shape that I went for, I picked because I like it provides a little gap through, and then I keep those jagged edges going up. So I like this shape. I think this is the final shape that I'm going to go with, and this is what I picked in the end. So I had a sleep on it, and then I woke up and thought, hey, you know what? I want to change this a little bit more. So what I've done is I've separated the aqua soil out, and I've added some more rock on either side, and I've left this gap in the front. And the reason I want to do that is create that gap so that I can break apart the aqua soil sections, and then I want to put sand in that middle part so that the scape is broken up into 3 parts. And I think by putting sand in that front part, it's going to highlight the light that's coming through, and then it will help me with my idea of this flow from left going up to right. The other thing is that this is only 8 centimeters high of volume that I can put things, so I need to consider some room or some space for filtration. So I think I'm going to put some filtration on this side. Even though this is so small and doesn't need a filter, I really like the look of glass lily pipe, so I'm going to do it. So now we're done that, let's get ready and add some sand. This is what it looks like after we've got the sand in. You've got that transition from aquasol to sand to aquasol. It's separated in 3 parts. I really like it. I like how the light hits the sand at the back through that little gap through the wood. Turned out perfect. So now that the hardscape is done, we're going to add water. Now what I like to do is, particularly with a new tank, I add the water in, let it sit overnight. I take it out and I put the water in again. Now, the way I do the water changes completely depends on if I'm having livestock in the tank and how fast I want to do it. In this case, we're not having livestock for a while, so it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to fill the water in once, let the sand kind of, get a bit murky, take it out, try and get the water a bit more clear, and just let it sit overnight or for a couple of days. Once that's done, then we get to the fun part, which is the submerged plants planting. And that's going to be quite interesting because there's not much room to put any plants, but we'll see what we can do. So we begin the planting with Bucephalandra catagang that I've got from another tank. I wanted to try it kind of half submerged because it does grow out of the water. So I thought that'd be really interesting. Give it a bit of look of something bursting out of the water. That green stem plant at the back is Pogostemon erectus. When it grows out of the water, it flowers beautifully. I've never done it before. It needs a lot of light, so let's hope that it works. And then in the foreground, I'm doing dwarf hairgrass. It's called Eleocharis parvula. Simple plant. I've got some light hitting there at the front, so I want to take advantage of that, and I hope that it grows well. And then finally, I'm adding a whole bunch of Rotala here. I saw a tank at the markets where the Rotala grows out of the water and it looked beautiful. So I'm hoping that's going to happen here. It's Rotala orange juice and Rotala colorata. And then for a final touch, I added a stone with some Ficinin moss on it. Thought it looked quite nice. It's angled in the shape of the hardscape as well, but you'll see later on that eventually I took it out. And these are the plants that I planted that were above the water's surface. And of course, we need some livestock. No fish, just some neocaridina and a shrimp. I think I got about 5 red cherry shrimp in here. And finally, we're just getting onto the equipment now. I've got a Sun, very small canister filter with some Chihiro silicone rubber hoses, which makes it really easy to move around, quite flexible. And I've also got some glass lily pipes on here. Now, this filter is completely unnecessary. The tank is so small, but it's nice to have a bit of water flow. I want those submerged plants to grow, and I'm even thinking about adding CO2 at some later point. This is the tank after a couple weeks. Some of the terrestrial plants didn't really make it. They didn't do so well, so I removed them, and I removed the fission and moss as well. I kind of wanted to see that light coming through and hitting the sand, so that's why I did that. But overall, really happy with the tank. I love the hardscape, that jagged edge going from left to right. I've kept that very dramatic look, and that's it. If you made it this far, thanks so much for watching. This is my first long form YouTube video and my first tutorial, so I would appreciate if you guys like and subscribe to this channel, and I'll be coming out with some more content soon.